The impression that we have in the world today is if atheism became prevalent, if everybody became an atheist, there will be world peace, there will be rainbows, unicorns, the lion will be playing with the lamb, everything will be fantastic, people will believe in science and reason and rationality, and none of these things will happen, and there won't be violence in the world. Total rubbish. This is total garbage. Just look at what happened when atheists took over a part of the world. The Soviet Union. Joseph Stalin became an atheist after reading The Origin of Species. And he applied the Darwinian paradigm to his population. In fact, the survival of the fittest, he applied it to social class, resulting in the deaths of millions. So this whole idea, oh, if atheists took over, it'd be so peaceful. Total garbage, right? That's not going to work. And not only is it not true historically, today these atheists are like, oh no, we're different. We believe in liberalism, right? We're different. No, you guys are the same. If you had power, you guys would do the same thing. How do we know this? Let's just imagine a large part of the world is not taken over by Joseph Stalin, but it's taken over by Richard Dawkins. What would he do? Hand out roses? Or would he fight evil? Fight the greatest evil in the world. Fight evil which is equivalent to Nazism, which according to him is Islam. Because he says Islam is the greatest evil in the world. He says the Quran, although he hasn't read it, is like Mein Kampf. So would he not fight that evil? Of course he would. And I love the honesty of some of these new atheists like Sam Harris. He openly writes in his book, The End of Faith, we are at war with Islam. He's clear, we are at war with Islam. Thank you, Mr. Harris. That's what I want. Honesty. Don't pretend to be peace-loving, with this, with that. The same with that guy, Christopher Hitchens. The guy, atheists love him. They worship him. Oh, he hitch-slapped this person. He did this, he did that. You got all these videos of him, yeah? The guy is a war criminal.
The liberation of Iraq, in other words, the decision that we had to move the Iraqi people and the region into a post-Saddam era, will stand, I'm convinced, as one of the greatest decisions of American statecraft, as one of the things that American soldiers, male and female, and politicians who voted for it, those who've defended it, would be proudest of in the future of any decision we've ever made. Despite the ridicule, despite the incompetence, despite the failures, despite the disappointments, let us review what we've done.
The guy promoted the Iraq War. The millions of people that died, he played a role in that. In fact, not only did he play a role in that, let's see how he fits new atheism into the fight against Islam. He says, the only people fighting for secularism is us, the new atheists, and the American army in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, this idea that if these people took power, let's imagine Dawkins is the president, the vice president is Sam Harris, the defense secretary is Christopher Hitchens, the transport secretary is Daniel Dennett, whatever, right? You get all these combinations, yeah? You think these guys would just go around handing out roses, or would they get to business? And this whole ethos is captured with John Lennon's song, Imagine. They have this idea that this is what the atheist worldview is going to look like. And I want to read his actual song and give it a Darwinian analysis. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. I agree that this fits perfectly with Darwinism. Darwinian evolution is true, we shouldn't stop ourselves from doing certain actions for fear of something in the hereafter, because the hereafter, from a Darwinian point of view, doesn't actually exist. And we shouldn't give up things in this life for other people because there is no heaven at the end of the day that we're going to go back to. We shouldn't be doing it for the sake of other people or for the sake of God. So far, so good. Imagine all the people living for today. Perfect. Again, Lennon's right. This is what Darwinism would predict. This is what a good Darwinian should do. Live for today. Perfect. Imagine there's no countries. it isn't hard to do. Sorry, Mr. Lennon, it is very hard to do from a Darwinian point of view, because we are inherently tribalistic. We actually care about our own survival and the survival of those close to us because they happen to have our genes. So we are inherently tribalistic, which leads to us being inherently nationalistic from the Darwinian point of view. So no, it's not easy to do. It's actually very hard to imagine. So you're wrong there. Nothing to kill or die for. Of course there is something to kill and die for, according to the Darwinists. Food and other people's spouses. You want to, at the end of the day, what's wrong with a rapist from a Darwinian point of view? A rapist from a Darwinian point of view is basically someone who is more successful than, say, Isaac Newton, because Isaac Newton didn't have any children. So a rapist who goes around raping and having children is actually better from a Darwinian point of view than Isaac Newton. So don't really agree with that. And no religion too. Imagine all the people in the world, imagine all the people living life in peace. Okay, again, that fits with Darwinism. We shouldn't really have religion. We shouldn't really have something that restricts us from doing certain actions. So yes, that does fit within with Darwinism. Now, living life in peace, how would it make sense that if you have the whole world living in peace, even if there is no religion, you would still have the Darwinian struggle for life. You would still have dog eat dog. You'd still have that. Why would that automatically disappear if religion actually disappeared? You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. What if we don't join you, Mr. Lennon? What if an atheist republic did actually exist and there are other people who are unwilling to become atheists, unwilling to accept their worldview? What would happen to them? Well, we only need to look at what Stalin did to the religious minorities in Russia. He destroyed synagogues, churches, mosques, killed many religious people and put other people in concentration camps. So yeah, we do know what you would do if we don't join you. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. As a Muslim, I can. Yes, I can imagine that, not being materialistic. But you, Mr. Lennon, cannot, and nor can the Darwinists. Why? Because all you have is materialism. All you have fundamentally is survival and reproduction and the byproducts of it. And the byproducts of it they're just simply byproducts. You can't take those as virtues. So imagine a world without possessions or us not being materialistic. Yes, we as Muslims can do that, but not you. Sorry, you can't actually do that. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Again, Mr. Lennon, have you actually read The Origin of Species or The Descent of Man? You can't be that naive. I mean, look in The Descent of Man. Darwin speaks about other races as being savages, the blacks being lower, even Turks being lower, and he has this entire hierarchy of different races, and then he speaks about how the white race is the greatest, and amongst the white race being the greatest, the greatest of the white race is the English because they're the best at being colonial rulers, and he actually gives examples for that. So a brotherhood of man, sorry Mr. Lennon, your worldview doesn't fit with your song. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Again, nature is red in tooth and claw. Do you not understand what Darwinism is about? Why would you share resources with others? Why would you love others? Love, at the end of the day, according to your worldview, is a chemical reaction. Nothing else. It doesn't actually exist. And it even evolved itself, like other emotions, fundamentally for some fitness benefit. You may say I'm a dreamer. I would say you're deluded. But I'm not the only one. You're right about that, mate. Many atheists are like you. I hope someday you'll join us. What if we don't, Mr. Lennon? What if we don't? We already covered that. We already covered what would happen if we don't join you. And the world will live as one. The world living as one is a fantastic idea. It's a fantastic idea of universal love. But as Dawkins says in The Selfish Gene, the idea of universal love is not something which makes evolutionary sense. So, sorry mate, your worldview doesn't fit with your song. However, if we look at the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, love for others what you love for yourself. Love for the people what you love for yourself. So we do have this concept of love, and love is not reduced to some mere chemical reaction. We do believe love does actually exist in the world. So from our point of view, the themes of that song, of course not the atheistic part of that song, but the themes of that song of sharing resources. The Prophet said to us to give food and share with people. In fact, he shared resources with people that were pagans, people who did not believe what he believed. So that theme fits with us, not with you Darwinists. And the idea of there being peace in the world and people getting along and a universal brotherhood, from our point of view, we believe all of humanity is one single family, and we don't believe black people are inferior, and we don't believe white people are superior. So that again fits with us, does not fit with you. So if we're to do a contrast of the Prophet Muhammad and John Lennon, we see the Prophet's teachings and Lennon's teachings, although they may overlap in terms of one's talking about love, one's also talking about love, his worldview doesn't fit with his song, because from a Darwinian point of view, universal love doesn't exist, universal brotherhood doesn't exist. But from an Islamic point of view, it does exist. We do believe all of humanity fundamentally is one family. And how do we make a hierarchy? Who's better than someone else? Is it because of wealth? Is it because of color? Is it because of gender? Is it something else? No. The Prophet taught us that whoever has consciousness of God, whoever has an awareness of God, they are the highest. And that's how we put a hierarchy of people. We don't put a hierarchy of people based merely upon their race, which is something you as a good Darwinist should actually do. So, as always, I look forward to the comments on this channel, and don't be deluded into the Darwinian worldview. Understand that if you do believe in love, if you do believe in brotherhood, if you do believe in these things, then you have to come to the religion, come to the belief that does actually say these things exist.